All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, we have probably one of the funniest self-owns that we have seen in quite a while, and this one's coming out from Disney's parks. Now, if you guys are unaware of the situation, Disney replaced Splash Mountain, which they deemed as problematic. They said it was a racist connotation for times that they don't no longer believe in, right? They tried to replace it with something called Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and apparently this ride just recently released, finally, and it's getting completely destroyed by the people who are trying to actually enjoy this particular ride.
This sucks more than anything that has ever sucked before.
Now, the backlash has been pretty massive, and for many different reasons. Now, I know that Park Hoppin' did a video, Geeks and Gamers, did a video showcasing just how often this ride actually breaks down. And, you know, a lot of people are claiming that this ride was made by DEI hires. Now, we don't know if that's necessarily the case, but I do find it ironic that this DEI-approved ride, this DEI-approved adventure, apparently can't even get itself together long enough for people to be able to enjoy it. So let's get into this article, guys, from that park place. But, of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So from that park place, it says Tiana's Bayou Adventure faces largest backlash in recent Disney park history. Look out, Harmonious, get out of the way, Galactic Star Cruiser, which, by the way, Galactic Star Cruiser got completely destroyed by another YouTuber. It's got like 6 million views. Fantastic video. I finally watched all of it. It took me a few days to get through it. It's like a 4-hour long video, but it was destroyed, and rightfully so. That thing is going to be buried way past 6 feet deep. There's a new champion of Disney Park discussed, and its name is Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Despite what you might hear on some other sites or on Disney-approved media outlets, the backlash to the Splash Mountain replacement is here and is gargantuan. In fact, I would say it's beyond anything I've ever seen in my years of covering Disney World and Disneyland. It's likely Disney knew that they were in very hot water. The company released a POV ride-through on YouTube before any YouTubers or any vloggers had an opportunity to be the first. That might be an attempt to get ahead of negative press. It did not work. Now, I do find that to be very interesting that they did this. Normally, they rely on social media influencers in order to give them the press that they want in terms of the ride and being able to experience it. But it does seem like they got ahead of the curve and they wanted to be the first to do that. Now, I find it funny that Disney's trying to partake in that because they just don't have that kind of following. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's going to be trusting the corporation trying to sell you the ride in the first place. Nobody's going to go to their YouTube video and be like, yep, if Disney says it's a good ride, then clearly it's a good ride. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. People are going to go to the people that they're already watching to get their own reaction and get their own review because they're more likely to trust them than they are to trust the corporation. But I mean, here we are regardless. The video has since been ratioed with dislikes, and comments on the video are even worse. With the video existing on YouTube, where the general public will watch it rather than just heavy dosage Disney fans, the reaction has been overwhelmingly negative in a way that is unprecedented. Even finding a positive comment is difficult. We've currently estimated the ratio of positive to negative comments is at something like 1 to 200. Yes, it's that bad. Oh my God, that is insanity. But you know what? At the end of the day, man, this is what it is. Like, this is a DEI replacement ride that was meant to replace a ride that people loved. A lot of people loved the original Splash Mountain. A lot of people loved that ride, and it's unfortunate that it became the target of DEI nonsense. You know, the fact that people, you know, a very small minority of people essentially complained about the ride and tried to call it racist. That's all it took for Disney to run with their tail between their leg and replace it with some weird kind of DEI approved nonsense. It's so stupid. This has not stopped, however, defenders from attempting to sway public opinion in favor of Disney's new ride. I can't believe how bad Tiana's Bayou Adventure is. Tiana deserves so much better. Everyone is realizing they should have left Splash Mountain alone. Even executives aren't happy with how it turned out. Literally every dishonest person who was committed to hating the ride since it was announced. Now, again, you're going to have people come out here and defend what they want to defend. It's just what it is. Somebody who's named Disney Scoop Guy probably is going to be trying to follow the mainstream and try to get mainstream access. That's nothing shocking. I don't think anybody should be shocked by that. We see it happening in gaming all the time. So the fact fact that it's happening in parks and whatnot, yeah, I think it's pretty obvious. Not only that, he turned off his replies, and he only allows people who follow who he follows to be able to reply. So that's an easy sign right there that this person is being disingenuous. Then it says, meanwhile, it's not just public reception of the ride that might be going poorly. Despite the attraction being a reskin of Splash Mountain, somehow the downtime for the log flume during press and influencer previews has been atrocious. Repeatedly, the attraction has been having fire alarms going off, and previews for the entire remainder of the day were canceled on June 2nd. On June 3rd, those attempting to ride reported that the attraction was down for 3 hours at one point and eventually had to be fully evacuated again. This is a cluster. I mean, this is honestly a complete cluster. And the reason why is because they had to, number one, rush to change Splash Mountain. They didn't have any actual plans to change Splash Mountain. The backlash is what made them change it. So they had to rush to do it, and they can't afford to have it down for too long. Otherwise, they're losing money every day that it's down. So they had to rush make this new DEI approved version of Splash Mountain. And you got to imagine there's some shortcuts were taken. I mean, it's pretty obvious. If you're having so many issues with the ride breaking down, if you're having fire alarms going off, if you have to constantly evacuate people, that is a big problem. And again, you should probably have taken a little bit more time to make sure that it was a fully fleshed out experience. But let's be real, that's not their concern. They feel like they can fix it over time. They can make it into something over time. Their concern was removing the backlash over racism. That's really what it was. Even though there was no racism at all, they still were focused on removing that particular backlash first over creating a ride that people were actually going to enjoy for the next 30, 40 years, as long as DEI is the forefront of the conversation. It says, meanwhile, those who did manage to get on the ride during the preview days thus far were met with unexpected results. When the ride wasn't suffering from fire alarms, evacuations, and downtime, the very expensive animatronics were already malfunctioning. In the following video of theme park reviews, discovered that the very first lowest animatronic already had his mouth not opening at all. Because these are brand new animatronics just delivered from California, they really can't be blamed on maintenance. These have apparently already arrived in a fragile state. Thus, it is that many are declaring this the worst ride redo in the history of Disney parks, perhaps even eclipsing Journey into Imagination 2.0, remembering that Splash Mountain was the most beloved attraction in the entire world when it was closed at both Disney World and Disneyland. This new attraction seems to somehow damage Disney's reputation in a way that we haven't seen before. Just look at the comments from Disney Parks' official YouTube channel. Now, we're not even looking at the comments, okay? Because we already know the comments are going to be filled with a bunch of negativity, and rightfully so. So I already know that's what I'm going to find there. But I want to talk about the fact that Disney had chosen to give up one of the most beloved attractions. I don't know if it was the most beloved, but one of the most beloved attractions, and definitely one of the most famous in Disney parks, which was Splash Mountain. They chose to give that up for Tiana's Bayou adventure. It's just, overall, it's just such a stupid decision, but it's a stupid decision that can only be made possible through the eyes of DEI. That is it. So unfortunately for the fans of Disney parks, you know, Disney right now has seen everything through the eyes of DEI, and every decision will not be made with business in mind first. It's going to be made with DEI in mind first. It's going to be made with inclusivity in mind first. It's going to be made with especially sensitivity in mind first. So they're not trying to entertain you. They're first trying to create something that's not going to get them in trouble, and then they'll try to entertain you after that. But the problem with that is that your creativity is so limited that you have to constantly walk on eggshells, and you end up creating something like Tiana's Bayou Adventure that nobody ends up liking, whether black, white, or in the center. They don't like it whatsoever. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. And if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.